Okay, we're here with Akaash from Jonar Labs. Tell us a bit about Jonar Labs, and I know you're an incubator and there's some projects you're working with. Tell us a bit about one of them as well, if you like.
Yeah, sure. So we're a Montreal-based incubator. We work mostly in the blockchain space. We do a bit of AI stuff. We're moving into it little by little. But right now what we're focused in is mostly non-ICO blockchain projects.
And when you say non-ICO, are they still early stage, or they've made a conscious decision not to do an ICO?
For the moment, it's a conscious decision not to move into ICOs. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that you can do with ICOs. One of the things that in the future we might want to move into is the idea of a central bank. There's this great example that happened in Canada recently where the Quebec government and the Canadian government had to do a $2 billion bailout of the aluminum industry. And that $2 billion bailout was financed by the Canadian government. And the Canadian government obviously has access to capital in central banks. In a small community, for instance, where you don't have access to, like, let's say you're in a small community of 5,000 people, and the Canadian government can't just give you money, or the central bank can't just print you money, and you have an unemployment problem. In that sort of case, if you could take a collective vote and you could increase the money supply, you could really tackle unemployment problems at a very local level. And this could be for virtual communities or for actual local physical communities. And so in terms of ICOs, that's sort of the direction that I'd want to move in if we go into ICOs.
Yeah, it's an amazing mechanism to raise capital. It could be probably utilized in a
completely different way.
In a different way, yeah.
And so that's sort of my take and my thought on the ICO side of things. I want to see real sort of community projects, and like I said, whether those communities are virtual or they're physical, to really give an access to the money supply and access to credit creation to regular folks. And so one day I hope to be able to move into there. I just don't see the ICO market being there right now. So we're more focused on the non-ICO sort of blockchain projects.
Tell us a bit about Bitcoin Lightning Hub.
Yeah, so one of the projects in our incubator is called the Bitcoin Lightning Hub. Really original name, I know, but it basically describes what we're trying to do with that project. And to sum up the project, where we see things going in the Bitcoin sort of network is that we see Bitcoin always sticking around as a sort of gold standard. I think most of the people here be hard pressed to find a differing opinion on that in terms of crypto. And the way we see that moving forward is that when the block rewards are done, when there's no more block rewards left in the Bitcoin system, or minimal block rewards, right? I think right now we're at what, 85% or something of all the Bitcoin, or 84%, something like that, of all the Bitcoin that can be mined. At that point, miners are going to look for ways to supplement their revenue streams. One of the ways we see that happening is to sustain the growth, is we see them increasing transaction fees. It seems like a logical next step for them, right? They're going to need to keep up their whole revenue stream. They have all of this invested capital in it. And those machines, let's be honest, they're not going to be worth all that much other than mining. I don't think there's that many gamers out there to take up all of those graphic cards. And at that point, there's going to be a huge push in the Bitcoin community to move towards off-chain solutions. And we believe, since the Lightning Network is the most viable off-chain solution that there is right now, that that's the right place to be. The hub itself, in short, is basically a way to allow a transactional point in the middle to connect a lot of people. You don't always know if two nodes are going to be able to follow from one to the other. For me and you, for instance, right? We don't know that unless we have all these people that connect us on a peer-to-peer network on the Lightning Network. We don't necessarily know whether I can actually transfer you money on the Lightning Network. But if you have a hub in the middle, that allows you to say, okay, this hub is going to connect you to a bunch of people, and it allows you to put a lot more of your capital in one place where you're going to be able to access it afterwards to pay for stuff.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Lightning Network Hub.
Yeah, so what the Lightning Network Hub is, and for people unfamiliar with the technology, I'll give you a really easy example. So let's say that we're in a local cafe, your local cafe, not mine. You go in and you can set up payments on the main chain with them, because you go there all the time. You do all of the payments off chain, and then when you close the account, the one payment is done on chain. That's great for you. But what if I come to the same cafe and I don't want to put a cash down into that cafe because I don't go to that cafe very often? Maybe I transact with you quite a bit. I put a cash down with you, and then you allow me to access the cafe. So if you kind of blow that up, well, what if there was one guy? What if you were the guy that had all of the connections and contact to all of these cafes, right? I'm just using a cafe as an example, and that's us.
How can people find out about both those projects? Where can they find you guys?
So you can contact us at jonar.com.
And for the Bitcoin Lightning Hub as well, is that?
That's very early stages.
Okay, cool.
So we're just making the site for that right now, and there's going to be a link to this video.
Cool.
So
Great talking to you. Thanks so much.